You're live.
Thank you, Mr. McCauley. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Today is September 15th, 2025. Welcome to the Hartford School Building Committee meeting. I call this meeting into order at 12:05 p.m. The first item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Ritter.
Mr. Shea Ajayi.
Present.
Councilman Clark. Dr. Andre Townsell. Ms. Sherry Davis Good.
Present.
Mr. Al Gary.
Here.
Mr. Edison Silva.
Here.
Clarence Corbin.
Here.
Ms. Shantae Browdy.
Present.
Mr. Corey Mills.
Present.
All right, with six voting members present, we do have a quorum. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Little. The second item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from August 18th, 2025. I am aware that everyone on this call had a chance to review. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Al. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Third item on the agenda is a note of public participation, which I will now read. Public participation will be supported through the duration of this meeting by using the comments function on either YouTube, Facebook, or by emailing comments directly to the Director of Capital Projects and Operations, Julia Jack, at julia.jack@hartford.gov, prior to or during the meeting. The fourth item on the agenda is administrative. There are no items under this topic. And the fifth item, current projects under construction, Arcadis, O&G, CNR program management, to which we have several action items. Jack?
Thank you and good afternoon. The first item before us today is change order number 37 to Newfield Construction for the Buckley High renovation. Total value of this change order is $197,420. These items have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mr.
Second.
Gary. Thank you, Mr. Mills, for the second. Any discussion on this item? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any abstentions or nays? Motion passes. Jack, back to you.
Next item before us is purchase order increase number 1 to Insalco Corporation for some additional furnishings items. The total value of this amount is $6,074.64. This also has been reviewed and approved by the bid review and change order committee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Yeah.
Thank
Second.
you, Sherry. Thank you, Gary, for the second.
Sure.
Any discussion on this item? All in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Okay. Motion carries. Jack, back to you.
The next item before us is change order number 38 to Newfield for Buckley High School Central Administration. The items in this change order total $16,127. They've been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Silva. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Okay. Motion carries. Jack, back to you.
Next item before us, scroll one line up, please. Next item is a purchase order request to Red Thread. This is to disconnect wireless access points within the rented space for the Board of Ed offices at 280 Trumbull Street. This is again, is off-site work. This is not eligible for reimbursement, but it is required as we exit the facility and move central office back to the Buckley campus. The value of this work is $1,726. It's been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. May I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Silva. Thank you, Mr. Mills, for the second. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Jack, back to you.
Next item before us is a purchase order request of Vulcan Security Technologies, again, connected with the Board of Ed offices at 280 Trumbull Street. And this is removing some security cameras and access controls valued at $2,000. This is also ineligible for reimbursement, but necessary. It's been reviewed by the Bid Review Change Order Committee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. May I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. I'll give Al the motion and the second to Mr. Mills. Any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Jack, let's see.
Next before us is purchase order increase number 7 to Meyer for moving services connected with the Buckley project. The value of this work is $5,910.60. It has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. May I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Davis Gooch. All in favor? Any discussion, excuse me, any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye, raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Jack, please.
Next item before us is change order number 37 to PDS for the Burns project. Total value against the owner's contingency is $13,990. It's been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. May I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Any discussion on this item in particular? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Jack, back to you.
Next, we have a purchase order request for the playground equipment to Creative Recreation. Bids came in last week, and we have finally, after multiple attempts to bid this work, been able to find a vendor that will meet our requirements and respond. The total value is $833,267. As this bid came in after the bid review change order committee, this will be our first level of approval. So we're asking that the HSBC approves the purchase order request to Creative Recreation in that amount. After the award, we'll have a remaining balance in the playground budget line item of just over $85,000.
Thank you, Jack. May I have a motion on this item?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Jack, back to you.
We now have a technology equipment purchase order request to R&B Enterprises. This is for additional technology support at Burns. Let's scroll down, please. The value of this purchase is $174,928. These bids also came in after the bid review change order committee meeting. So we're asking a first line approval by the HSBC. We will have $278,000 left in our technology budget after this award, and this is expected to complete all required technology purchases. So that money will be returned to the owner's contingency.
Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion for this item?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Ms. Davis-Goge, and seconded by Mr. Mills. Any discussion on this topic? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Okay. Motion carries. Jack, I believe the next item is project reports.
Yes, enclosed is our report for the month of August. All of our budget items and schedule items have been confirmed and are consistent with previous approvals. Next slide. Again, exceeding majority of our goals as far as Hartford resident and MWBE minority and women workers, rather. We did come up slightly in our Hartford resident participation over the summer for Burns. We're now tracking just over 25.5%. Next slide.
And we have about a year, Jack, if I could add to just ensure that we meet that goal, essentially.
Yes, work is tapering off, and again, that will be a difficult goal to achieve, but we are working monthly with the contractors and the unions to provide as many local resources as possible. Next slide. For our budgets, we have expended or paid to date roughly $154 million on Buckley. We have unencumbered just under $3 million, and to date, just short of $114 million has been reimbursed by the state, which represents 81% of the money that's gone out the door. Councilman Clark is entering the meeting. For central admin, we've paid to date about $28 million and reimbursed by the state about almost 19.5, which represents 82% of the monies expended. Next slide. Work is extending basically everywhere within the building. As we've mentioned in the past, we're finishing from the top down and working our way out of the building. So the fourth floor is most complete as we work our way through the first floor and then out. Site work was very busy over the summer. We made some very good progress there. So we're encouraged as we work into the last months of heavy construction that we will be ready for the move-in for Board of Ed before the turn of the year and student occupancy as well. Next slide. You can see some images of spaces approaching completion. Overhead gym equipment, the ceilings throughout the upper floors. It's really looking like a school both inside and out at this point. Demolition at the old auto shop building, which was used temporarily as a print shop, is moving forward. That's our next major milestone, is to get that building down so we can finish the site work surrounding the commissary and make that building available for food service use. Next slide. For Burns, we have paid to date about 47.4 million and collected just under 39 million, which represents 84% of all expended funding. Again, a very productive site work summer for Burns. You can see images of the entry and parking areas now refreshed. We've handed over all of the classrooms that needed to be renovated. We are now working in the main office, auditorium, main entry area. And now, as just approved today, we will be able to proceed with the playground installation and work our way out of the back of the building with site work as well. Next slide. See some images of finished spaces and equipment. It's really pulled together nicely for the opening of school. We're very pleased with the progress that was made over the summer. For our look ahead for Buckley, you can see quite a lot of work, including site work that continues into the fall. I see Miss Browdy has her hand raised.
Thank
It can
you,
be at
Ms.
the
Brody.
end. Yeah, it could be at
Okay.
the end of his
Thank you.
report.
Again, working our way out of the building from the top down. Keep scrolling. Next slide. And for Burns, the heavy lift in the next several months is, as I mentioned, auditorium, main office, some site work, removal of the site trailers, and then working our way through some last pavement in the rear play area and the installation of playgrounds by November. Do we have any questions?
Ms. Browdy?
Thank you. I do. So, and I appreciate the report the reports that were sent to me on the minority participation. I didn't want them year to date. Like I want for the month of, like in that month, I want the numbers relevant to that month, not like a rolling, if that makes sense, Mr. Buckus.
Yes, it does. You know, the truer picture is, you know, project to date, because we do have varying levels of involvement by various contractors. You know, some trades are very heavily represented with local workers, others less so. So the goal at the end of the project is to do a roll up, but we'd be happy to narrow that down to monthly reports versus project to date.
I would rather monthly, and so I don't have to raise my hand and ask the same question of Collier's. That's what I'm looking for too, and I don't know where those reports are going, but they're not coming to me for Collier's. But thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Browdy. Any other questions on the reports? next month on the 90-day lookout will be December, which will be the conclusion of the project. So looking forward to that. And seeing, it's always great to see the progress. I say that every time. So thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to pivot to the 6th item on the agenda, which is current projects under construction, Collier's projects leaders, which has several action items. This one of which will be more of a longer discussion. So I will pass it to Judy.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the first item for our review will be to Downs Construction. This is for change order number 13. This change order was thoroughly reviewed by the change order subcommittee, and this change was an amount of $220,049.24. And we're looking for your endorsement on today.
Thank you, Judy. May I have a motion for this item?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gary. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, if I just may underscore one thing that Julia said, and that is the scrutiny that the subcommittee goes through on each of these items is intense in some cases, most cases, and I appreciate her bringing that attention. I'd like to underscore it at this point. That is all. Just a comment as to what happens off camera, so to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Gary. You're completely right, of course. Any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Motion carries. Next item, Judy.
So next item for us to review, this is for the GMP 1.1. This includes all the trade costs. Each item was scope review thoroughly with the construction team present there. We did have the design team as well as Newfield to ask the different questions to make sure that every contractor that we're presenting today has met the scope and requirement. This GMP for the trade cost is in an amount of $32,967,590. And we're looking for your endorsement on today.
Thank you, Judy. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Second. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Any discussion on this item? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any abstentions or nays? Okay, motion carries. Judy, back to you.
So the next item that we have is sort of a projection of what we can anticipate happening for the rest of the project. This is a projection that was requested for GMP 1.2. These are about 6 packages that are currently open. We're waiting for some feedback from the city, as well as some items that we need to rebid. In this amount, we're projecting about $13.8 million for the trade packages. Also, on that will be including $4.2 million for CM allowances, general conditions, and the fee. This total expected GMP will be at $18,115,097.59. Can you scroll down to the next page? Please understand that this is a projection only. We do have to do the final bidding for those open packages. This page sort of gives a summary of where we are to date. The first one is the initial PO that was awarded to the construction manager in Newfield. The next is the GMP 1, which was an amount of 4.1 million. And the next two items were the change orders 1 through 2, which was previously presented, and change order number 3, which I will review on today, and the GMP 1.1 of 32.9 million. And you add in conjunction with the 18.1 million, that brings the total estimated GMP to 58,434,752. So as you can see, our total construction budget was at 54.6 million, which shows a variance or difference of 3.7 million. That's sort of what we need in order to get back on budget. We do have, after we do that calculations, about $369,000 contingency left once we apply the total GMPs to our budget. So that's sort of what we are going to go back to the state for additional funds. This was reviewed with the city, and they're on board to proceed.
Thank you, Judy. I will move into a motion so that we can have further discussion. Can I have a motion for this item?
Shay, this item does not require a motion. It's mostly for informational purposes only. So you can
This is not an action item.
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you. Being that is the case, then I would open it up for additional questions. Maybe I'll start actually, because I know this called for a lot of additional explanation, and I'll ask Judy if you could also expound upon the expiration dates of certain bids as well as the fact that these are estimated costs and the impact to this contingency as it sits.
So just to give a little background on when these bids came in, most of the bids came in on July 1st, and usually there's a 90-day period for those bids to last. And once you exceed that 90 days, then those bids ultimately expire. So we are currently coming close to that bid timeframe, which is will be October 1st. So ultimately, we probably, through you, Shay, and the committee, would like to follow up on another special meeting if possible. There is another option where we can request for extension of these bid packages, but ultimately we have to review what the city's decision on some of those items that are currently in review. And what was your second question?
The implications to contingency, essentially.
Yeah, so ultimately, as you can see in this page shown, this will ultimately deplete our contingency, leaving us at $369,000 left. We can move forward, but ultimately we'll have to go to the state for additional funds and approximately 3.5 million additional funds we will be requesting. Ultimately, like I said, this is an estimate, and it all depends on what the final bids come in for those remaining 6 packages.
Thank you, Judy. Any other questions on this item?
Yes, through you, Chair.
Please.
So I'm hearing that there's no action needed, but are we waiting for the additional bids to come in to move to action?
Correct.
Yes, there's a chance that we will call a special meeting so we can move this item along the process.
Is that the case, Judy? A special meeting once the bids come in?
Depending on where the city stands with the open items, our goal is to try to award before the October 1st date. But I did state that we can potentially extend those bids because of the likelihood of tariffs being a concern. I'm not sure if contractors will want to extend their date too much further. So we have to follow with the city on the decisions and ultimately come up with the final cost for you guys.
You know, Judy, to that point, did you speak to regulation concerns with new regulations around deep?
Yeah, so I think I previously spoke last month and concerns of the requirement for CT deep requires for remediation of soils. That brought our budget significantly over about 2.7 million. In addition, we did have some other packages that exceeded the estimate that was carried mainly due to tariffs for those particular packages. So that's what's driving that cost overage.
I'm sorry, through you, Chair.
Yeah, yes.
So if you extend, then that saves the current bid cost, or because I hear tariffs and I just think more money. So rebidding would most likely come back higher. So is the action to request an extension, or are you waiting for them to come in?
Yeah, so we're waiting for ultimate decision from the city for the open packages. Once we get those, then we can know how to proceed. So there's about 4 packages that are currently in review with city legal. Ultimately, there were some concerns of the bidding, particularly the overage and costs for those items. So we just have to get a response from the legal team. Once we get those responses, then we'll be able to decide on next steps, either awarding to the lowest qualified bidder or rebidding those packages.
Do you have an ETA from the legal team?
They haven't given me update to date.
I know they're working extensively on it.
Okay.
John, Lori, I thought I saw on a call. Okay, yeah. John has been working with
Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle Harrison, as well on this from a procurement side. So I'm sure we'll have an update for this week, just because we know that there's an expiration date very close to the end of the start of next month.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
And I just have one last final question. Does this decision, is it holding up the timeline, or is just the normal process for the bid process? We're in the middle of the bid process, right?
Yes, there is a slight delay to it, but we can proceed with starting the process of construction. There are a few items that we would like to press to get awarded. Hence why we might need I would say a special meeting. We'll definitely review those bids and discuss it with you guys further.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judy. Ms. Brody.
Well, the question in regards to the time frame for the minority businesses, if they didn't get a scope as of yet, if they're supposed to get like the contract within 30 days, how would this affect that timeline?
I'm gonna point to Ray. Are you able to answer Mrs. Brody's question?
Yeah, those impact the 2 bid packages that were impacted by that would be the 2.25 and 2.26. We would end up rebidding that. We can also ask the low bidder, if that's how the city decides to go, to extend their price, but the cost of copper has gone up quite a bit, so I don't expect them to hold their price at any point there. Mechanical and equipment in acoustical ceiling, I don't see that as being an issue dollar-wise. Structural steel, we just re-scoped those people, the second bidder, and they just scoped out. That's our critical path right there. That would be what would impact us the most. And we would be looking for a special meeting to discuss that package.
Thank you.
The change order committee.
Thank you, Ray. Any other questions on the topic? Okay. Judy, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. So next item on our agenda for review is change order number 3 to Newfield Construction in regards to the Freddie Wish School. This is actually a credit, is a allowance return back to the owner's contingency, as well as a credit for revised site restoration. This was thoroughly reviewed by the change order committee, and this credit is an amount of $133,966.22, and we are looking for your endorsement on today.
Thank you, Judy. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Next item is project reports. Judy?
Thank you. Next slide. Thank you. So for Betances and Kennelly, we are exceeding for minority and women workers that are currently working on the project. We do see an increase for Hartford participation for Betances and Kennelly. We're working with the trades. They typically have a meeting once a month where we review some outstanding items, particularly the Hartford residents goal with them thoroughly. We have Colliers as well as Downs Construction who are in those meetings speaking to the labor unions. We also have Yolanda Rivera, who's a part of the Connecticut Building Trades Institute, and she's making sure that she's providing a training for the next, next stages of employees to work on the projects. We do also have the construction team. They do provide weekly and bi-weekly updates and notices to the contractors who are not meeting the goals. It's sort of, nudging them along to get the participation up for the Hartford residency. So those are some tasks that they're currently taking place in order to increase that percentage. And to Ms. Brody's comment, I will respond back to you. I sent it to an email. I'm not sure if it did not go to the correct email, so I'll follow up with you on the report. Any questions as relates to this slide? All right, next slide, Betances. Currently, we're at pay to date at 10.1 million, and we have received approval for the last reimbursement request, and we're currently at 6.5 million, which leaves our percentage at 65%. We did have an extensive amount of construction that happened during the summer months, so we will be submitting our next reimbursement request sometime next week, and that will include about $4 million worth of construction that took place during those summer months. So our goal is to submit that as soon as possible. Schedule-wise, we are on schedule at 38% complete with the classroom portion of the project. Next slide. Just to give you guys an update, since our last meeting, school has opened up. Everything was ready for the teachers and staff. Teachers were able to set up their classrooms prior to the students coming, and the principal is ultimately happy with the end result. So that's a great news from our last meeting. So just giving you guys an update. So give you a little update on some of the pictures, some progress that has taken place. Temporary admin suite is complete. That is being currently housed by Reading to a Child right now until we move into our next phase of construction. You also see some pictures of the install of the structural steel. This is taking place inside those classrooms in the northeast corner. You also see some hangers being installed, and that's typically where the electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, piping and conduit will be hanging from the ceilings, and then ultimately you'll have some ceiling tiles installed as well in the end result. Any questions on the progress for phase 2.1? All right, next slide. So this is the addition slash site work. You can see the first picture, the top left and the middle left, the center of the top, you see the install of the slab was complete. To the right, you'll see the striping for that parking lot was complete prior to teachers coming back. You see the parking of some vehicles on site, as well as the bottom left, as well as the center picture are the install of the exterior wall. It's some shoring that was put in place. The exterior wall to that middle picture has been removed. So this shows the progression of opening up that wall and extending it to the addition. Ultimately, with this addition, it will include increasing the cafeteria space for additional space for the students, as well as providing that mechanical space to the right of this addition. So, and then to the right of the picture, the lower right, is the install of the generator pad. When the time comes when the generator comes on, then we can be able to install that. Next slide. So as we travel through the end of this month to the next October and November, we'll start seeing the installation of the masonry walls taking place today. They started the process of connecting and tying in the primary electrical into on Charter Oak Ave. So there's a lot of activity happening in front of school today, which is great news, as well as the classroom support spaces for that northeast corner. You'll start seeing the structural steel continue on the upper levels, as well as fireproofing of the steel in the northeast corner. And then as we go on the next months, October, November, you'll start to see some framing stubs going, metal stubs being installed into those classrooms, sort of framing and creating the spaces, the final spaces for the classroom. So as the months go on, I will provide update pictures so you guys can see the progress. Any questions on Betances? Next slide. So for Kennelly, we're at 10.5 million paid to date. Total approved and paid from the state for reimbursement is at 5.4. We're currently at 51% reimbursed to date from the paid to date. This does not also include a significant amount of work that took place during the summer. It's about $6 to $7 million of work that took place. So once we get those general ledgers and it's paid, then we can update this with the next reimbursement request. All right, for schedule wise, we are at 35% complete on schedule for the addition. We are complete with the temporary classrooms. I'll show you some pictures of that transformer and generator that's going to be coming up. We did have a fantastic opening of school as well for Kennelly. The principal was very pleased with the opening of the school. And also for the Northeast classrooms are about 10% complete. A lot of demo has taken place, and you'll see that in the coming presentation slides. Next slide. So as you can see, the temporary classrooms, we do have some pictures of entrances. That is a secure location where you can only egress out to the top left. But it also allows, if you have a key, to get into the space. So this space, temporary classrooms, is a very secure location off of the building. And then you'll see some stairs going up to the temporary classrooms, as well as the walkway. You'll see how the final install of those temporary classrooms look in adjacent to the existing building. And then to the left, far left, you'll see the generator as well as the transformer, and that final connection took place over the weekend, and they're currently operating on permanent power at this point. And then the bottom left, you'll see some setups of the classrooms for those temporary classrooms, and I spoke to a few of the teachers and they are happy with the temporary location. Any questions on phase 1? Next slide. So for addition and site work that has taken place since we last spoke, is the install of the steel deck. You can see that the middle picture. We also have the underground utilities taking place with the install of the electrical. The bottom left, you'll see a temporary location for a playscape area for which was requested by the principal, just to have some outside space for the students to play in. We do have 2 playscapes also off of White Street for the students to go outside to have some fresh air. So we're excited for that progress to date. In the middle, you'll see the striping for the final layout for Kennelly. And then the right, you'll see the progression of those foundations for the addition of the school. Any questions on the progress for the project? Next slide. And then for these pictures, the top left, excuse me, in the center, you'll see sort of the art teacher did some painting on the exterior of the partition wall that separates the existing building to the renovated space. So if you look at the bottom middle picture, you'll see on the other side of that wall is the construction taking place. So we did have the staff sort of get involved and they were able to make a nice display for the students. And to the right, you'll see some class spaces that have been demoed and some hangers put in place to start the process of mechanical, electrical, and plumbing installs. Next slide.
Nothing else.
So for the month of September, we'll finish up with the install of the steel deck as well as the demolition of the gym wall. We do have for the month of October and November, we'll continue to add on to the structural steel in the next 3 bays, which will be installed. We're also going to be infilling the bleachers in the month of October, as well as starting the process of coordination within the mechanical, electrical, and install of the drywall inside the interior spaces. So we'll start to see more additional progress pictures for those in the coming months. Any questions as relates to Kennelly? All right, next slide. So paid today is 7.6 million and total approved is at 5.8 million, leaving us with that reimbursement at 76%. We did get great news from the state that they did approve the reimbursement amount to 95%. I did follow up with Michelle and seeing where we lie with the makeup check. So we should be receiving a response for restoring that percentage from 76 to 95%, just like the other projects. So for bidding, we're currently in progress. Next slide. So as we spoke about today, we did have the approval of the GMP, the next one, and the Newfield team will start the award and contract to the bidders. There are a few packages, as we mentioned earlier, that will be rebid. So in the coming months, we'll start to get those rebids back, scope them, as well as getting a final GMP number 3 in order to continue with the construction of the WISH project. Any questions or comments? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Judy. As always, great to see the progress in all of these schools. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is projects under closeout, to which there is no update under that agenda item. However, if we pivot to other business, item number 8, I'd like to just take a brief moment, just given our continued conversations around some of the schools and the prior conversations we've been having, to which we said we ensure that those conversations take place at the appropriate forum. Last meeting, we mentioned that Corporation Council would be working on just the documented understanding of the bylaws as well as authority for respective entities. Lori, who was joined with us today, first I'd say, one, congratulations, Lori, for your recent appointment as Deputy Counsel to the City of Hartford. So congratulations there. And then thank you for your current work on trying to break down the understanding of the authority that exists with all of those entities. We're still currently in draft phase, but I can give Lori a quick platform to just give a general overview if Lori, you feel that's appropriate.
Sure, thank you very much. So after the last meeting, I tried to take a look at the various roles of the important entities and stakeholders that are really involved in the school construction process from start to end. And so the three major ones, as you might anticipate, would be the Hartford School Building Committee, the Board of Education, and the City of Hartford. So I just wanted to maybe take a moment to sort of do a brief and high-level overview of the various roles of those entities throughout the process of a school construction building. I think, the one thing to note is that, communication and working together among those parties is crucial in, the successful finalization of any construction project. So to start really with the Hartford School Building Committee, the committee has the real general role of overseeing school construction projects. And the Hartford School Building Committee gets that responsibility because it's delegated to it by the City of Hartford. And in that way, the School Building Committee acts as an agent of the municipality and doesn't really have separate standing to assert any type of legal claim on its own. It's an agent of the city in that respect. The specific roles of the Hartford School Building Committee are outlined, one, in our city ordinances, and those are outlined in Chapter 28, Article 9 of the Municipal Code, and then, of course, in our bylaws. High level, the general role of the building committee is really going to be providing oversight during all phases of the design development of a project, including the development of final plans, the specifications, even drilling down to the actual contract documents that are executed for all of the work that occurs in the school construction project. In looking at the role of the Board of Education, one of the main roles of the Board of Education, I think, comes into play even before any construction project is even starting or in the beginning process of starting. The Board of Education plans for school construction projects, and it does so one way by maintaining its long-range facility plans for the entire district, reflecting program needs, changes in the school system that come up from year to year. In the years that I've been trying to support the Board of Education, the practice, in my assessment, has been that the need for renovations is done in alignment with the school board's operating plan. And under the prior superintendent, that operating plan was essentially known as a district model of excellence. And so those plans were all done in alignment with that overarching operating plan. Prior to construction of a project, once projects are identified as necessary, the actual Board of Education, the body, has to approve all of those construction plans. In addition, the board is the entity that's applying for the grant to get state funding. But it's only doing so after it's being authorized by the town to do so, because the town's critical piece in the construction project is really to provide that local share cost of the project. The way that the city does that is typically through ordinance that is introduced by the mayor. It's passed by council vote. And in that ordinance, the city is approving that construction grant, and it's outlining the actual funding that the municipality is providing in that construction project. Within the ordinances, there is always general language that gives the mayor, as the appointing authority, to appoint any consultants or professionals as required, and to perform tasks and take actions as necessary or required for the consummation of the transaction provided for and contemplated by the ordinance. So when you're looking at an ordinance that's dealing with particular funding for a school construction project, there's authority for the mayor to do these things, provided that it is going towards the consummation and the finalization of that particular construction project. So I'm going to just pause there because those really are, in my assessment, high level overarching roles and responsibilities of each of the entities who are critical in the entire school construction project.
Thank you, Lori, for that. And again, just wanted to provide a brief overview. More information will be sent, as we mentioned last week, but didn't want to go this. More information will be sent, as we mentioned last meeting, but didn't want to go in this meeting without broaching the topic. So I see Ms. Brody has a hand up. I will pass the mic to you, Ms. Brody.
Thank you. So with that description by Attorney Misery, I don't feel that we follow any process as far as the pausing of construction. And because one of the things she named definitely was communication, so I guess I would like to make a formal request on two things: that the Board of Education receive some type of formal, it could be formal meeting with whomever is going to report to us on how we landed at pausing, like a formal meeting, and then another formal meeting on what are we doing in regards to this Weaver fire alarm. Because each month we're pushing it down, we're rolling this rock down a hill every month. I've been told next month. I'm probably in a year worth of months. So those are two requests that I would like to get on the record. But then I do have a question in regards to, we have an ordinance, and correct me if I'm wrong, around minority participation in our construction projects. But in this meeting, it'll be like, oh, we didn't meet our mark. And we just say that like loosely. So do we not have any enforcement, like as of years past? Like who's holding the construction folks accountable for meeting that number? And if they don't meet the number, it's just like, oh, well. So that's a question I have for now, but I do want to request those two formal meetings between, I don't know if it's the city, this board, or whomever, with the Board of Education, on those two items. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brody. I would, with respect to your first comment, for those two meetings, firstly, I would say that, my update from General Counsel, Corporation Counsel with regard to SLAM, which is specific to Weaver, is that they understand the exposure that they currently have, and council has been meeting with them. So I think that is not that's a request that the city can meet with regard to an update for Weaver specifically. And with respect to your first comment about a meeting on the pausing, my understanding is that the city has been working with the superintendent on arranging such meetings. So I know there is more to come on that. Your question specifically around minority contracts, I don't see Michelle Harrison on this meeting, unfortunately, but perhaps I can have her follow up with you with regard to that comment.
Okay, can I ask for clarification on the superintendent is arranging a meeting about pausing. Could you help me understand that statement?
Yeah, no, my comments were, my understanding is that the city is working with the superintendent around meeting with regard to conversations of pausing and physical space.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not talking about a meeting with the superintendent. I'm talking about meeting with the elected and appointed folks to the Hartford Board of Education, like the members.
Right, of course, and that is, I understand, that is
And I'm hoping it
meant to
would
be
happen with
inclusive
the
of the Board of Ed
superintendent.
as well. So just to
Thank
clarify,
you.
Ms. Brody, that is inclusive of the Board of Ed, not separate from.
Thank
Any
you.
other, of course, Ms. Brody. Any other questions? I see Julia Jack.
Yeah, I don't want to move on through you, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I don't want to move on from that, and if anyone else has a comment, but I did have a public comment come through that I'd like to share with the group. And that request is that the Hartford School Building Committee information be made available to the public via the Hartford Civic web portal prior to the meeting. Full agenda package, slide presentations, and previous month's meeting minutes. There was a comment that looking back on the videos, the slides are sometimes cut off and they can't follow. So they'd like to get those presentations and the agendas and things beforehand so they can follow along.
Julia, if I can comment on that, I emailed the town clerk's office last month asking for some guidance because our office up to through May was posting in a website that the city advised, but after that it wasn't allowed to post. So I did email the town clerk's office and ask for guidance as to where can this be posted, especially the agendas and the pack and obviously anything else that we can. I have not heard back. But I will try to give the town clerk's office a call and see what it could be done.
Okay, yeah, I was speaking to them, so include.
Oh, okay, perfect. So
So
you
include
can
me on the email, we can
Okay. Great.
make it happen.
Oh,
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Julia, for arcing that up. Mr. Mills.
Hi, I just want to sort of back up what Member Brody mentioned. While I don't mean to be overly pedantic, there is a difference between arranging a meeting with the superintendent and arranging a meeting with the Board of Ed. And so I know you just spoke to that, but I do sort of want to press that a meeting or a report generated for the Board of Education itself is slightly different than the school system. So if we could, I sort of just want to champion what she mentioned there. That would be incredibly helpful for just our understanding of how things are working. So just sort of want to second that. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. And I'll again clarify that the meeting that I mentioned with regard to the superintendent is meant to be inclusive of the Board of Ed as well, not limited to the superintendent specifically. But
thank you
for the comments, Mr. Mills. Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, moving to the last item on the agenda, which is adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. All in favor, say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. No nays, no abstentions. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.